In this video, we're going to look at how we can get better at recognising what we're feeling and what might have triggered whatever it is we're feeling. Because even though we all have emotions, it doesn't automatically mean we're really good at recognising what we're feeling or what might have triggered whatever it is we're feeling. This is probably because emotions don't always get a lot of attention. They are often ignored or overlooked, even though all humans have them. It's like the world wants to forget that as humans we have emotions because the unenjoyable ones can cause difficulties that we might prefer to ignore. Unenjoyable emotions can stop things running smoothly, and there's a number of different ways that they can do that. So for example, they can make us lose confidence, and when we lose confidence we can doubt ourselves all the time, which makes getting on with things like work especially really difficult. Unenjoyable emotions can make it very difficult for us to cope with change, and everybody always has a fair amount of change in their life. Unenjoyable emotions can sometimes make us react badly to other people, which can cause problems in our family, school or at work. Unenjoyable emotions can stop us concentrating really well, and they can sometimes make us behave unpredictably or in a way that surprises others, which can unsettle everyone. And they can also sometimes make us struggle to get on with other people. In many ways, it would be easier if we were all robots that did not feel emotions, so we didn't have all the problems that emotions can cause. But we're not robots, we're human, and we always come with a whole range of complicated emotions. So it's better if we don't ignore unenjoyable emotions, and it's even better if we get good at recognising them, as emotions become less tricky if we get really good at managing them, and it's harder to manage them if we don't know what it is that we're feeling. So a good place to start with recognising feelings is to have what I call emotion check-ins, which are simply times when you look inward and try and work out what it is you're feeling. The more times you do this, the better you become at pinpointing exactly what it is that you're feeling. We definitely get better at it with practice. It becomes a bit like a puzzle, thinking, what am I feeling and what might have triggered me to feel that way? You can do an emotion check-in in different ways, but one way is to do a body, head and behaviour scan to collect clues about whether or not you are experiencing an uncomfortable emotion. So start with a body scan. How are you feeling inside? Are you tense anywhere? Tense being the opposite of relaxed. Is your heart beating fast? Do you have an unsettled feeling in your tummy? What expression do you have on your face? Do you feel like you can't be bothered and lazy, or do you feel unsettled and fidgety? Then you can do a head scan and look at what you're thinking for possible clues to what you might be feeling. So are you thinking that you're a bit rubbish and you think other people are better than you, which sometimes happens? Are you not concentrating very well? Do you have a thought that keeps coming back, always going round and round in your head? Or are you thinking nasty thoughts about another person? And lastly, you can do a behaviour scan. So how are you behaving? Are you being snappy or grumpy towards other people? Are you moaning or saying negative things? What tone of voice are you using when you speak? Are you hiding away, ignoring people, or avoiding all people, or avoiding certain people? Or are you being clingy and very dependent on the people who care about you, like you need to be with them all of the time? So a body, head and behaviour scan can usually give you clues that you are experiencing an unenjoyable emotion. Of course, the more words you have to describe feelings, the better you will be at describing exactly how you feel. So learning more feeling vocabulary, or words that can be used to describe how you feel, will help with that and make it easier for you to express how you're feeling. Here are just some words that could be used to describe emotions. There are many, many more. These just happen to be some of my favourites. It shows you that there are words for emotions that are less straightforward than feelings like happiness, sadness and anger, for example. Some feelings take a while to understand properly. You could take one new emotion word a week and really think about it, what it means and if you felt it at all recently. That would improve your emotion vocabulary, which can make it easier for you to describe exactly what you're feeling. So the next thing to get good at, after you've worked out what you're feeling, is to get good at working out what the trigger was for whatever it was that you were feeling. So sometimes this is really obvious and straightforward. So say, for example, somebody called you a nasty name and you became angry. The trigger was being called a nasty name and the emotion was feeling angry. However, other times it can be a bit less obvious. So say, for example, we're being grumpy and snappy with people. We wouldn't necessarily associate that behaviour with the fact that the reason why we're feeling like that was that earlier on we were going to go for a trip to the swimming pool, but it got cancelled. We won't necessarily associate our disappointment with the grumpiness and the grumpy way that we're behaving later on. So some triggers are really obvious and some are less so. But we can get better at recognising and understanding the times when triggers for unenjoyable emotions are going to happen. So let's have a look at some examples of triggers for unenjoyable emotions. They obviously won't include every possible trigger, but they can start you off thinking about different triggers. Some triggers can be from things that have made you feel bad about yourself and maybe have knocked your self-esteem. So to find those kind of triggers, you could ask yourself, has someone said something that you keep thinking about or dwelling on? Has someone been nasty to you or left you out? Are you finding something particularly difficult? Or have you been comparing yourself to someone else? That's never a good thing to do, as sometimes you'll come out better, but the times when you come out worse, you'll remember for longer. Changes can often trigger unenjoyable emotions. So to think about these kind of triggers, you could ask, were you looking forward to something that's not now happening? Has something changed in your life? Are you missing something? Or is something about to change in your life? Another set of triggers can come from unfairness or feeling like you've been treated unfairly. This can often trigger anger. So to find triggers linked to unfairness, you could ask yourself, do you feel like you've been treated unfairly? Do you really want something that you can't have? Or do you feel someone didn't listen to you or try to understand what you were saying or your point of view? Another thing that can trigger unenjoyable emotions is rumination. Now, rumination is the word that you can use to describe when you think about something that's really bothering you over and over again. And lots of things can make us ruminate. You could ask yourself, did you learn or hear about something that has unsettled you? Are you dreading something that's coming up? Did you do something you feel foolish about, or perhaps something that you think was wrong? Or is there just too much going on and you don't feel like you can cope? And the last set of triggers we're going to look at are to do with relationship or friendship difficulties. So relationships are great when they go well, but when they go wrong, we often experience uncomfortable emotions. So, have you fallen out with a friend? Have you stopped enjoying spending time with a friend for some reason? Do you feel like someone is behaving differently towards you and this is bothering you? Or has a relationship or friendship ended, perhaps because a friend moved away, for example? Getting good at recognising feelings and what triggered them improves your emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence makes life easier. Also, if you know what it was that triggered an unenjoyable emotion, you're more likely to be able to ask for help for whatever it is that's bothering you, as you know what it is that's bothering you. It also means you're more likely to make better decisions about what you're going to do about what's bothering you. So aside from doing a body, head and behaviour scan every now and then, another way of really focusing on emotions is to have a check-in at the end of the day with a parent or a carer and reflect upon which enjoyable and unenjoyable emotions you've had that day and what triggered them. It might help you to reflect if you had an emotions poster on your wall. You could make one yourself with lots of different words, with or without emoticons, depending on how much you like drawing, and you could add to this poster as you learn more words for emotions. So what have we learned? Well, we've learnt that emotions often get ignored because our world tends not to focus on them, even though they can affect us ever so much. We've learnt that we can get better at describing exactly how we feel. We've learnt that we can get better at linking our emotions to whatever it was that triggered them. And we've learnt that becoming more emotionally intelligent makes life easier.